I tried to step in again, putting myself between them, but James pulled the trigger without hesitation and kept firing, unleashing multiple shots at my son.
And his mama was pushing him back, and he had her gun pointing it right at my face. And I went to duck, and I seen him push her out of the way, and that's when I fired him, shot him.
I can't believe I didn't get shot.
That's all you could say. I just snapped. I saw a gun in my face, and I pulled the trigger. And I didn't stop pulling it.
James is a black man, a mentally unstable man living in a trailer with his ex-wife Linda, due to his disabilities, shot and killed her son Christopher 11 times. Detectives have every reason to doubt his story of self-defense because as they continue speaking to Linda, and attempted to kill his girlfriend Samantha Noble during a domestic dispute on December 18, 2020, Linda witnessed the attack firsthand, describing James suddenly pulling a gun and opening fire, while James himself later admitted he went berserk and called the victim nobody's problem no more. Escambia County deputies responded to a trailer home after reports of gunfire during a domestic dispute and found Linda Blackman on the porch. Inside, Christopher was found dead beside a terrified Samantha, having been shot 11 times, including in the torso and forehead. Shortly after, James was stopped outside in his Dodge Charger as he returned to turn himself in and was arrested without incident, with a Smith & Wesson handgun found in the car. The trailer showed signs of a violent struggle, and the camper where Samantha had been hiding was riddled with bullets, revealing a family history of tension that had finally exploded.
I understand that you've been talking to Deputy Gresham, telling your side of the story about what happened today, the events that happened. I'd like to hear what happened today.
I woke up, they was all arguing in the house. It was like, we've got this girl that's been staying with us.
Yes, sir.
Staying with my son, and she's like the devil. I mean, she's just like the devil. You know what I'm saying?
And who is that? The girl?
I don't know what her last name is.
Okay. What's her first name?
Samantha.
Okay.
And she keeps the house in a complete uproar. And I was asking my wife this morning, my ex-wife, if she could evict her, to serve a formal eviction, because she was driving me crazy, the whole situation. And she said she was at her wit's end with it too, but they had it handled. So I went back in my room and tried to ignore it. Still going on. So I jumped in the bath and tried to soak it out, you know. And all I could do was hear them yelling and screaming in the other room about it. And I got out of my bathtub and I told him, look, if you don't get her out of here, you know, it's going to destroy this whole house. Will you just serve her eviction? I said, if you don't, I got to leave.
No, I forgot.
And,
Go ahead.
And I don't really know what happened from there. My son said something about you're not going to do anything to nobody, and he started going in an outrage.
Okay.
And said he was going to hurt me or something. I heard him yelling something from the other room, and I know how he is. So I was already looking for a weapon because I knew he was coming. When I looked out the door, he was coming.
From when you looked out the door, out the bedroom door?
Out my bedroom door.
Okay.
I seen him coming, and his mama was in between them trying to push him away.
Okay.
So while she was pushing him away, I ran and got her gun.
Okay.
It's, you know, what happened.
Okay. The family dynamic. It's you and your wife or ex-wife living there?
Yes.
Okay, and that's Linda?
Yes.
Okay. And your son?
Yes.
Okay. And what's his name?
Christopher. Everything was kind of foggy after that, but I know we was tussling. He said something about, you ain't gonna pull no gun on me. And Linda was in between us, the mother. And he was trying to get to me, and I guess I was trying to get to him. We were tussling.
Right.
He knocked the gun out of my hand. The gun went across the room. He went running for the gun. I knew what was going to happen next.
Okay.
So I ran for another gun. Gun I had, my gun. I ran for my gun because I knew he had a gun at that point. Because he was running for the gun, so I ran the other way.
Okay.
When I come back, she was trying to get him to stop again. He had the gun over his shoulder, pointing it right at my face, and said, "You ain't gonna point no gun at me ever again." And that's when I shot him.
Okay.
And when I shot him, I seen him moving. At least I think I did. Best as I can remember. I thought I saw him move again, so I unloaded the gun.
James claims it all started with Samantha, saying she brought chaos into the home after moving in. According to him, Christopher threatened to attack him during an argument about forcing her to leave, leading to a struggle over a gun that ended with James shooting him in self-defense. However, that claim falls apart. If Christopher had already been shot, emptying the entire magazine into him goes far beyond self-defense, especially since James himself is unclear on the details. And that's not the only thing he seems to have trouble remembering, for reasons that soon become apparent.
Now, is he your son or your stepson?
He's my stepson.
Okay. How long's he been your stepson?
Since I married his mama.
How long's that been? When did y'all get married?
I don't remember the year.
10 years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20?
I've probably been with her 22 years, maybe.
22 years?
As best I could tell. I've been struck in the head with lightning, so I can't remember dates and times and things.
You got struck by lightning?
Yes, sir, through the head, they said.
How long ago was that?
About 15 years, I suppose. I've suffered mental illness from it since.
Okay.
I didn't need to be in that environment, and I've tried to leave it many times.
Do you take anything for your mental illness?
Yes, sir.
What do you take?
I smoked the medical marijuana, and I take the, I don't know what the names of them are right now.
Okay, what have you been diagnosed with as far as mental illness?
Schizophrenia, I don't know, antisocial, bipolar, I don't know, everything probably.
And that since the lightning strike?
Yeah.
Okay. How were things yesterday between everybody at the house?
Been terrible.
It's been terrible?
Yeah.
For how long?
A long time.
Well, what causes it to be terrible besides the girl and him? I mean, their demeanor, disrespectful.
All of that. They threaten us. They threaten us with violence. She's threatened our home with gang members coming after us. I'm in a constant state of fear over there, you know. And his dad's an enforcer for the Sons of Silence. And he's threatened me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm constantly being threatened. I felt like I was in a state of fear all the time.
Sure.
And that's just where it got too much.
Understood.
And it broke. It broke me. It broke me. That's all you could say. I just snapped. I saw a gun in my face and I pulled the trigger. And I didn't stop pulling it. Because I think I was freaking out.
Linda said Christopher and Samantha lived in a backyard camper due to constant fights. But tensions escalated when Christopher and James argued inside, leading to a struggle where a gun was knocked away, picked up by Christopher, taken outside, and then brought back in. As the fight resumed, Linda tried to separate them, was knocked over a table, got back up and stepped in again, when James suddenly pulled a gun and fired multiple times at Christopher at close range. She said it all happened too fast to know if Christopher still had a weapon, and after the shooting, James went outside and fired toward the camper where Samantha was hiding. Linda warned Samantha to run, then fled to a neighbor's house, describing a chaotic scene that spiraled out of control.
Understood. While he's writing, what kind of gun was the one you shot him with?
I don't know.
But you said it was your gun, though, right?
I think it was my wife's gun I shot him with.
Okay.
Is that the one that's in the car?
I think that's my gun that was in the car.
What kind is your gun? Is your gun that's in the car?
My gun's a 9mm.
Okay. And what was her gun? What caliber was that?
40 Smith & Wesson. She bought it for home protection, but
You know what brand? Glock, Taurus,
Smith & Wesson.
Hers or yours?
Hers. Smith & Wesson.
Is it black or silver or?
Black.
And what about your gun? Because I never saw the one. I haven't looked in your car. Which is a nice car, by the way.
It's a black gun.
Okay.
I think I saw a Taurus.
What's a Taurus?
A Taurus? Does that sound familiar? Does somebody have a Taurus handgun?
That's a brand name, like Smith & Wesson, but it's just Taurus.
Mine was the other gun. It's a Sky, I think.
Sky? Okay.
SCCY.
Yep. Okay. Whose is that? Whose is the
That's
Sky?
my gun.
Okay. And your wife, Linda, right?
Yes.
Linda has the Smith & Wesson?
Yes. She has 2 guns. Because our house has been broke into a bunch while we was there. We've been home invaded 3 times on that lot. Been getting death threats forever. I've called the FBI. I've called the police. You know, like I said, he's involved in you know, he's a criminal.
I heard he's just out of prison.
Yeah,
How
he's a criminal.
How long's he been out of prison?
And I'm very scared of him.
How long's he been out of prison?
3 years, I think. 4.
And what was he in for?
Selling guns.
Really?
Lots of guns. And drugs. And dragging somebody down the street. He's a violent man.
Here in Escambia County,
Yeah.
in Pensacola?
And I put him down. He's nobody's problem no more. Sorry that I had to do it, but he was threatening my life, and I took him out.
Understood.
It was bound to happen. I'm sorry it was. I don't even feel remorse over it, because I can't. The boy was wrong. The boy was violent. The boy was a criminal. And he was going to kill somebody else if somebody didn't stop him. I'm sorry it had to be me.
Sure.
But at least it was in our own house and it didn't affect anybody else's household.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's all I can say that I'm glad for.
Yes, sir.
That nobody else got hurt. But I'm truly, I don't have any feeling over it because the boy's a bad seed.
Yes, sir.
You know, I never saw any good in him. Nobody did.
He don't work?
He don't work. He don't do nothing but cause violence and strife. And it's one situation after another.
Does he have children?
No, thank God. Thank God, no. But he's a violent person, and I was highly scared of him. And I'm mentally handicapped.
Sure.
And I'm not using that as an excuse.
No, not at all. Well, will you...
I tried to move out of that household 3 or 4 times. But I'm sick in the head. I'm mentally sick.
Sure.
I can't take care of myself.
Understood.
And my wife was good enough to let me come back and try to take care of me.
Sure.
And I'm sorry that I killed her son
Well,
for her troubles.
you did at the time what you thought, you know,
I
was
didn't
right.
want that to happen.
And we're not here to judge you at all. We just have to get the facts down, and that's why...
I was scared for my life.
Can you take
Oh, you did.
the investigator
And
through...
it was spiraling fast, and I didn't know what to do.
Can you take him through what kind of words or what the argument was about? How did everything start? Did it start this morning, or did it start just prior to this happening?
It's been going on forever.
But today, though, how did things escalate today?
She was throwing the furniture out of the house this morning.
The girlfriend?
Yeah, that's what I got up to. They was telling me, you know what that crazy is outside doing right now? And I was like, what? And said she's throwing the furniture out on the fire pit. Gonna burn the furniture they just bought yesterday. I said, God damn, I don't want to hear the today. You know, I can't hear no more of this. I told her, I said, Linda, go down there and get a eviction notice on that woman. I'll pay for it my goddamn self. I said, just go do it. Let's get that out of here before she ruins our household. And she said, I've had enough of it myself. I've got to do something. I said, well, all you got to do is serve her eviction and get her out of here. She said, I'm not ready to do that because of Chris. You know what Chris will do. Chris will go crazy over that, you know. I was getting involved in it. I said, I know, Linda, but goddamn, you know, this can't keep going on like this. You know, every day it's just turmoil, turmoil, turmoil. He's yelling, they're yelling at each other. He's threatening, she's threatening. You know, she's threatening our family with violence from other people. You know, he's threatening her violence. I'm going to kill you. You know, he's going to kill his own girlfriend. You know, it's every day everybody's going to get killed. You know, everybody in the household, everybody's, you know, I'm just going to, Linda's I'm going to kill myself because I just can't put up with it no more.
Linda's the girlfriend or your wife?
My wife,
Okay,
his mother.
gotcha. Okay.
She said, y'all going to give me a goddamn heart attack. I just can't deal with it no more. You know, and it just kept stacking on me. And every time she'd say something, it's like, God damn, you know, I feel that, you know. This gotta end. It's gotta end somewhere. And then when he pulled that gun on me, that's it.
Well,
I shot.
James describes ongoing chaos in the home and claims he had no choice but to kill Christopher, insisting he was a dangerous criminal who would have been killed by someone else anyway. Detectives appear sympathetic, but only to keep him talking and gather his version of events. While Linda says James started the fight, James insists he was actually trying to keep the peace.
So, you said that Chris and his mama were arguing, right?
They were arguing, yeah.
They were arguing.
I was in the bathtub.
Okay. And what were they arguing about? Do you know?
That girl. The fact that we need to get rid of her out of the house.
Okay.
You know, that she's burning the furniture out on the fire pit. You know, that they just bought yesterday. And she was saying, you're never going to have nothing with this woman as long as you're with this woman. You're never going to have anything, Chris. Get away from this crazy.
And so you get out of the bathtub and then what?
I get out of the bathtub and I went in there and said, look, I can't hear this anymore.
To his bedroom or to where?
They were in the living room.
Okay.
I was in the bathroom. I said, I can't listen to anymore. I can't. Y'all make go over the board. I said, I got to get out of here. I was starting to lose it. I'm telling you, I was losing it. At that point, I was already, I could feel it. I was going insane. And I told him, I said, look, something's got to break here. I got to get out of here. You know? And whatever I said, I don't know exactly what I said, but whatever I said enraged him. I turned my back to walk away. And apparently he charged. And I didn't know he was charging. I was walking back towards the bedroom. I didn't have any clothes on. I was butt naked. I was going back to get me some clothes on. And I could hear him down the hall saying, you're not going to with me no more. You're not going to do nothing around here. You know, he was like taking over the household. At that point, that's what I thought. In my mind, I'll tell you what my motivation was. I thought he was taking over our house at the time. He said, you're not going to do nothing. Nobody's doing nothing. I'm going to be the one that does around here. And I heard some like that. I don't know if I'm hearing it in my mind. I'm not trying to make up nothing. But I'm saying I heard some that, you know, like violent. And I know how he is when he's violent. So I got scared. And instead of going to get my clothes on, I went and got my gun. I got her gun, I think. I can't remember.
From the bedroom?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened?
And I didn't say anything else. I went back to my bedroom. If I can remember, I can't remember.
Just do the best
I just
you
know
can.
I had my gun, her gun. and I seen him. I was back in my bedroom. I heard him yelling, saying, "You're not going to do anything else, and you ain't never going to pull no gun on me again." That's what he said. And I opened up the door to see what was going on. And his mama was pushing him back, and he had her gun pointing it right at my face. And I went to duck, and I seen him push her out of the way, and that's when I fired him, shot him.
How did he get the gun from you? Because the gun that
We were scuffling over the gun.
Okay, so because the gun that he pointed at you, you originally had, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How did he get that from you?
He knocked it out of my hand.
Okay.
And where was that at in the house?
We were right there where the kitchen and the hallway meet.
Okay.
I came out there and said, "Look, this shit's got to end." You know? And I had the gun because I was scared. And he said, "You ain't pointing no gun at me anymore." I said, "Chris, you're going to leave the house. This got to stop. Get the out of here before somebody gets hurt." And he just kept pushing. He kept pushing. He pushed his mom out of the way. He says that I did it, but I watched him. He pushed her out of the way and went to grab me, and he went to grab the gun, and he hit my hand, and the gun flipped over his head. It went behind him, and I seen him stop trying to handle me, and he turned around and was looking to grab the gun, and I ran. And then I went and got my gun.
When you ran, where did you run to?
My bedroom, back in the bedroom. I'm stuck. There ain't no way out of there. You know what I'm saying? And I was looking frantically for my other gun. I couldn't find it. I could hear him coming. And she's saying, "You're not going to kill him?" Something. And he's saying, "This is over with." And I thought he was coming to kill me.
Where'd you find your gun at?
Huh?
Where'd you end up finding it at?
I don't know. I mean, I found it under the mattress, I think. I was looking frantically for it.
So you find your gun, and then what?
It's either, I can't remember which gun I had. That's what I'm saying. I had two guns.
Yeah,
I had her gun and my gun. I don't even know which gun I shot him with, to tell you the truth.
That's all good. Huh?
Yeah, we're not worried about which
There's
one.
two guns involved, and I don't know which one I was holding when I shot him. I just know that I was scared for my goddamn life, staring down the barrel. I think he had his mother's gun when he was shooting it at me. I think.
Did he fire it?
No, but I thought he was fixing to.
Okay.
He had done pushed her out of the way and was going like this. He was in motion, saying, "This ain't gonna go no more."
And that's where in the house?
Down the hallway. I was at the end in front of my bedroom door.
Okay.
He was at where the kitchen and the hallway meet.
Kind of looking diagonal.
He had his mom in front of him. She was pushing him back, saying, "Chris, don't do this." I don't know exactly what was said. She was trying to get him to stop. He pushed her out of the way, come over her shoulder with the gun like that, and I could see it pointed right at my face. I took a side step like that. I took my gun and I shot him. And then when I shot him, I seen him move, so I just shot him some more. And that's what happened.
Did you walk up on him and shoot him some
Yes,
more?
sir, I did.
Okay.
Because I seen him moving, and I didn't trust him not to kill me at that point.
Did you shoot him one time in the head?
I don't know.
Okay.
I shot at him.
Okay.
When this is
If
all
it hit him
going,
in the head, that's where it hit him. Well, the first shot probably did hit him in the head because I was aiming high.
when this
I don't even think I was aiming. I just, you know, what I'm saying when I say aiming high, I wasn't trying to kill him, you know, but I was thinking he was fixing to shoot me, so I pulled the trigger.
James's defense is inconsistent and only hurts his credibility, as he claims he wasn't trying to kill Christopher while also saying he intentionally aimed high, despite the fatal shot to Christopher's forehead. His story also conflicts with Linda's testimony, which never mentioned Christopher returning inside with a gun. And this is just one of many contradictions that make his version of events difficult to believe.
when this is going down, when he's pushing his mom out of the way, pointing the gun at you, and you said you're over by your bedroom?
Yes, sir. I was in front of my bedroom door.
Because I walked through your house just briefly. How far apart do y'all think you were when
I shot
you
him,
shot him?
probably from here to that door, maybe. Is my best assumption.
10 foot?
I didn't walk up on him, I don't think. I know I walked out of the room when I was ducking as best I could think. I think I ducked, come out of the doorway, and shot. I don't know, man. It's all a blur, dude. because I'm sick. I'm dying. You know, I've been told I'm dying. I'm sick. You know, I'm not able to defend myself. So, if, you know,
Sure.
I'm scared. I'm scared of the boy. I've always been scared of him, and she knows it. Everybody knows it. I've had to leave town a few times because of his threats. My own family, I've had to run to my family and say, look, he's trying to kill me. You know?
You said you're dying. What are you dying from?
Lung disease.
Lung disease?
And the lightning strike has done something to my sleep patterns where they're saying I'm not getting any REM sleep and I'm dying from lack of sleep.
How'd you sleep last night?
I don't even remember going to sleep. I don't go to sleep anymore. I pass out pretty much. I'm from exhaustion. You know, I stay up for 5 days at a time sometimes. It's only because I can't sleep. I have a medical issue and I'm whack.
Now, don't take this personally or the wrong way or anything, but you know, obviously I've been doing this job a while, and usually when I see people that stay up for 4 or 5 days at a time, it's usually because of narcotics use. Do you use any methamphetamine or anything like that?
Sir, I don't.
Okay.
I don't use any drugs but
Medical marijuana.
Yes.
Okay.
And prescriptions.
Yes, sir. You can take my blood right now. I'm not under the influence of anything.
I just wanted to ask because, you know,
I understand.
the not sleeping for 4 or 5 days.
I understand. I understand why you ask.
You know,
And I'm accused of that. You know what's funny? I've been accused of that 3 times this week. But it's not. I'm a insomniac. I can't help it. I stay up for days and it clouds my thinking, clouds my judgment, clouds everything.
Sure.
when's the last time you think you got
That
any
woman's
sleep?
the only one that cares about me in this whole world. And now I've done this to her. And I'm remorseful of that.
Sure.
When's the last time you think you got any sleep?
I don't know. I went to bed. They say I don't get any sleep when I go to bed, though.
When you said you passed out last night, you don't remember going to sleep.
Right. Exactly. I don't remember saying I was going to sleep or laying down like I was going to sleep. I just kind of find my bed at some point from exhaustion, I think. And I woke up really feeling bad this morning, sickly and tired and everything. So I was soaking it off in the tub, you know. That's how I have to wake up anymore. I get up and I soak and try to get my muscles back going and, you know, wake up a little bit.
Now, has there been any other kind of shots fired, disturbances there at the house in the past?
Yeah,
A
that
week or
boy
two?
shoots guns out the door all the time. He's crazy.
Okay.
We're afraid of him. He's come home with guns. He sold guns. He went to prison for guns. He comes home with AK-47s and like that and bulletproof vests. You know, we've scared the hell out of him.
Sure.
You know?
The reason I asked is because when I was walking around
And I'm
today,
not blaming him for this. I'm not. I'm blaming mental illness for this. He has it too.
so you're blaming mental illness on both of y'all's
Yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what kind of mental illness he has?
He just took a big strike to the head. Boy ain't right.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a big dent in his head. Can you see it?
I didn't look that
He's been
closely.
mental ever since his wreck.
Okay.
You know, he was mental before that, but the wreck really made him more mental.
So after this happened today, you got in your car, right?
Yeah.
And then just drove around and
I was going to drive over to the church and ask for prayer.
okay.
I drove over to the church at Gonzales and Pauline.
Yep.
I went in there and I asked for prayer. I didn't tell them what I did. I just asked them, would they pray with me? And they said they couldn't. They was the nursery. So I went next door. They said, go next door and you can get prayer over there. So I went over next door to get prayer. The doors were locked. So I seen a police officer there doing the road crew there in front of the church. So I walked up to him. I said, sir, I just shot my own son. Will you arrest me? Take me on in. He said, what are you talking about? He said, I got something else going on here. I said, look, dude, you got to take me in. I just shot my son. You got to arrest me. I threw my keys on the ground, put my hands up, got down on my knees like that. I said, I'm here. Arrest me. He said, I am not going to arrest you. He said, I got too much going on over here. He said, my advice to you is go back home and let him arrest you now. So that's what I did. I went back home and then I seen y'all, and the only reason why I whizzed by y'all, I wasn't trying to elude you. I was trying to get back to my house where he told me to go. And the mental was going mental. So I was only following that order.
Yeah. Oh, no.
When I got down there, I put my hands out and I surrendered myself. I was not trying to run or elude. I was trying to get prayer and turn myself in a unviolent fashion.
We appreciate that.
James gives an almost unbelievable account of fleeing the scene, claiming he went to a church for prayer but found it locked, then tried to turn himself in to a seemingly indifferent officer helping a road crew. There's no confirmation if this is true, but regardless, it's fortunate he didn't harm anyone else on his way back. He even admits that ever since being struck by lightning, he hasn't been quite right.
I've tried. I went and tried to get counseling for myself, to try to deal with this. They told me they couldn't fix me. I'm mentally hurt because my brain.
Sure.
I got struck through the head with lightning, they said.
Where'd that happen at?
I was playing a guitar, getting ready for a show. I'm a musician. And the lightning struck me. And it took me years.
At the house?
I was at a Holiday Inn, or at somebody's house getting ready to go to a Holiday Inn. I can't remember.
Here in Pensacola?
No, I was in Georgia when it happened. And it took them years to figure out how damaged I was. And then they finally give me
Medication?
death and Social Security. Retired me. Said I was a danger to be around folks and stuff. So I stay secluded on purpose, on my own.
They said you were a danger to be around folks?
Yeah. I didn't feel that way, but I guess I am.
Did the lightning strike make you violent or change your...
I think so, yeah. I do.
What room does Chris stay in?
Here's the other problem. I was probably already destined to be violent, not because I wanted to be. My dad was also an assassin for a big motorcycle gang. And he made me, he said he was grooming me for that position to take over when he died. So I think I was probably groomed to be an idiot. I've always fought it. I've even left from living with him at 15 because I was afraid I'd kill him or they'd kill me.
Was that in Georgia?
No, that was in Alabama. And I knew he couldn't come to Florida because I think he killed somebody here. And he had walking papers from the gang that he was in, said you can't ever go to Florida again. And I knew it because a few times that I was with him, they even got near Florida. He would tell his wife, I can't go to Florida. They'll kill me over there. You know what I'm saying? So I kept hearing those rumors, all the time. So I knew he couldn't come to Florida, so I pretty much was okay to move to Florida. And my wife suggested it because I knew, hey, that would be the end of having to worry about him because he threatened to kill me. I've lived under that threat many years with my dad and his gang.
What motorcycle gang was he in?
He was the president of the Southgate Los Angeles Nuggets.
What room did
He's
Chris
dead
stay
now.
in?
But he rode with the Hells Angels, Outlaws, Banditos. He's a bad.
What room did Chris stay in?
He was sleeping on the couch.
He was sleeping on the couch?
Yeah, because they're fighting.
Okay.
He's been staying in the backyard in a camper that I sold him.
Okay.
Because he really can't afford to live anywhere else. And he's been injured like me. He got run over like a year ago, I think. It was a year. I don't know time and space like that. But it's recently he got run over.
So he's been staying in the trailer
Trying to get his legs back on, like me.
and sleeping on the couch?
He's sleeping on the couch because she locked him out of the house last night or night before.
Out of the house or out of the travel trailer,
Camper.
the camper? Okay.
I didn't want to shoot him, but he had a gun right at my head.
Now, was Was your gun loaded?
I don't remember. I think I kept them both loaded.
Okay.
In fact, I'm sure I probably kept them both loaded because, like I say, I'm kind of like the night watchman there. I watch out the window all night, is what I do. Because we've been home invaded like 3 times. We got a lot of people threatening us because of his activities, because I'm an idiot. You know, I've made some bad calls with some people over my lifetime. You know, I've had a bunch of people threatening me the last few years. The threat of death is over me all the time. But then I'm getting it right there in my own living room. You know, I just snapped. That's all I can say. With momentary lapse of reasoning, and I killed him. But he had a gun in my hand, and I thought he was going to pull the trigger. I didn't feel like I had a choice at that point. So that's what I did.
Where was Linda at when you shot Chris?
She was in front of him, trying to push him back. And he had a gun, and he had the gun over his arm like that. She was pushing him back. And he was doing this, like he was pushing her away. And then I seen the gun come over her like that. And then when all I seen was barrel, man. When I seen barrel, I fired.
So you're lucky you didn't hit Linda.
Very lucky. And that's why I asked, did I kill her? Because I just started firing. You know, I was scared. I seen a gun right there. I seen the open end of the barrel. And I said, he's fixing to shoot me. That was the last thing I thought. He's fixing to shoot me. And I pulled the trigger.
James openly shares nearly every detail of his life with detectives, including accounts that sound more like paranoid delusions than reality. Given his extreme misfortunes, like being struck by lightning and having to live in his ex-wife's trailer, it's possible some of it is true. As the interview progresses, it becomes increasingly clear that James is a deeply troubled and very sick man.
Hey, James. Hey, I'm back, buddy. What you doing, Bubba? Praying?
Yes, sir.
You a godly man?
I try to be.
Yeah, me too. Same here. It's tough in this world, but I try to be also because I'm a believer that when you leave this earth, that you go someplace.
I saw the Christ. I know he's real.
And I certainly don't want to go down there, so I try to be right with the man.
I saw hell too.
So
When I got struck, I went right into hell.
it changed your life, didn't it? I mean, it changed it in not the best way, obviously, but you got your life spared, right?
I've been trying, but you know, the world just doesn't have it in for me.
Well, you know, no matter what happens from this day forward, you know, no matter...
I'm still going to have the Lord in my heart.
That's right. No matter what law enforcement, what judge, what courts, anything like that, that's only temporary in this life, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Because when we go home,
Yeah.
we go home.
Yeah.
Right?
I hope the Lord will have me now that this has happened.
Well, you know, I'm also a firm believer that there's, you know, if you talk to Jesus, talk to God, and you repent your sins, and
I've been trying
so
hard. It's just, I don't feel like I was left any choice on that. He would have killed me.
and I totally get that.
But then
I'm not judging you at all, buddy. I have no malice, ill will, or anything towards you because of what you did. That's not my job, and I've talked to hundreds of people that have sat right here in your shoes, you know?
I don't have any malice against myself. I felt like I was doing what I needed to do to keep me alive, so...
I want to try to clarify a couple things, you know, because honestly, you know,
I know that I'm not sane, and
Sure.
I know that
I agree with that. I think you have some mental issues.
I need to be in a facility.
You have some mental issues.
I know I do. But I've been asking for that.
Sure.
I've been begging for it.
Well, part of that,
If
though,
there's
also...
no help for me because I'm poor.
Well, and medicine is not a cure-all. Medicine
I
is
need
a
help.
patch. But do you take your medicine like you're supposed to, or no? Because that's the $64,000 question.
It makes me sick. I don't like
Sick how? Not eating, staying awake. I mean,
all of that.
all of that. But you do understand, you know, there's just like cancer, you know, cancer treatments make you
She
sick
begs
also.
me to take it all the time, and I tell her I do, but
Well, you have to follow. You know, doctors prescribe it for
I
a
love
reason.
that woman. I never want to do nothing against her.
She don't have any. We've been talking to her
I
for an
love
hour.
that woman.
She don't have any hate towards you at all. None at all.
I'm so sorry that happened.
I can assure you, she don't have any hate in her heart towards you. She knew that you needed help. She knew that her son needed
And
help.
she knows nobody would help me.
But she's in a bind for the simple fact that here she is working, you know, 10, 11, 12 hours a day.
That woman works so much. She's the hardest woman I know that works.
And
I feel so sorry. I feel like I failed her.
and she's doing that for y'all. I know
I
you have
know.
some income, but
I
also...
feel like I failed her as a husband,
But you know
as a
what?
man.
You know, in my heart of hearts, and talking to her for an hour, she didn't never say, why did he do that? You know, I hate him, I don't love him, or anything like that. She agreed that, you know,
She was wrestling with it herself.
you know that you
We
needed
both
some
were.
help.
We're scared of him.
Sure.
He's violent. I'm not trying to make him a bad person. He was
No.
a good soul down there somewhere.
It is what it is.
Somewhere down there, that boy was a good soul, but I couldn't find it in him.
But one thing, Izzy, while we're thinking, because, you know, not only do we talk to you and everybody else, I'm sure you watch police shows before or whatever. I mean,
know I'm going to prison. Sir.
I wish, no, not necessarily. I'm not saying, that's not my
I
determination.
know I'm sick in the head, and I know I deserve what I get.
But things aren't as easy as you see on TV, because we take what you tell us, what she tells us, the people that were there, all right, and then we try to align it with the evidence that we have there at the scene. Okay?
I didn't kill him with malice.
All right?
I didn't
Now-
kill him because I wanted to kill him.
Let
I
me...
killed him because I was scared I was going to be killed myself.
Okay, and I'll take that as what you say. I'm not saying that's not true. I'm not here to say that's not true or untrue. Only thing I will refute on is if evidence says different.
Although James claims to feel remorse for his crimes and the suffering he caused Linda, it doesn't explain his actions after killing Christopher. He also seems unable to clearly recall what happened afterward, or the details of the multiple firearms involved.
Okay? Now, what I want to ask you, would you rather me call you Izzy? You like Izzy better?
Yeah.
Izzy, what I'd like to ask you, though, and after the incident happened with Chris, all right, then what'd you do? Because I know what you did.
I think I tried to kill that girl.
Yes, sir.
But I did. I was out of my mind. I was just like I was on autopilot. I couldn't stop myself. I'm being honest.
You go out the back door?
I saw him. I looked in his face and I saw him dead. And I immediately held her responsible for it.
Because of her?
Yeah.
So you march outside
I think I was going to kill her.
and you started shooting?
I think so, yeah.
Porch, steps, yard?
I don't know.
Did you empty the pistol?
Probably did, yeah.
Okay.
I think I was trying to kill her. I don't know. I was out of my mind. I was holding her responsible for it. That's where my guilt lies.
Okay.
Is after the fact.
Okay.
And I'll admit that totally. I'm guilty of that.
Did you ever walk up on the trailer and shoot, or you shot from afar? Or, you know, a distance a little bit? Do you recall at all? Because the camera will show us. You don't know.
I was out of my mind, sir.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I was mad because I had to kill my son, and I knew who was responsible for making all that happen. And I think I went to the dark side on that.
And where did you get the gun at that you shot at her with?
That's my gun. I bought it a long time ago off the street.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Now,
I'm not sure about
now,
the
not
gun.
not according to Linda. Now, Linda says
I don't
y'all bought
know.
those guns a couple years ago at Mike's gun shop.
Now,
They're
she
on
bought the
29.
guns. I didn't. I can't buy a gun legally.
Right. Well, is there more than two pistol firearms? Not pellet guns or airsoft. Is there more than two firearms in the house?
There's her guns.
Okay.
She has two guns.
And that's what you used, was her two guns.
No, I have one gun of my own.
And that was a what?
I think it's that Sky one.
And what caliber is that?
9mm.
9mm.
I'm guilty of trying to hurt her.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it
Yeah.
up front. I'm not ashamed of it because I was out of my mind. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough. But
But I know that I did it.
how
I'm guilty
do
of
we
that.
explain? All right.
I'm telling you the truth.
No. I'm not saying you're not.
I just don't know all the facts because I was out of my mind.
I'm not doubting what you're saying, but just when I ask you a question, it may spark a little memory.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll try to work with you.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be a or anything. I'm just.
I'm guilty of trying to kill that woman.
I have to put the story together. You know
I'm
what
guilty
saying?
of trying to kill that woman because I was out of my mind and I wasn't thinking proper, and I was holding her responsible for the death of my son at that moment.
Fair enough. When Chris,
I held her responsible for all of it,
when
and I wanted to kill her.
when you shot
because of it,
and killed Chris, all right, where is the gun that he had?
I don't know. I absolutely don't know. I seen him holding a gun in my, pointed at me from here to that door, and I shot and I killed him. And I really don't remember what happened after that. All I can remember is I was standing in front of the shed door. Is that the shed? The camper.
No, well, let's go back to inside, not outside.
I don't even remember how I got outside.
Okay. Okay.
I was out of my mind.
I'm not saying that you wasn't. I'm just saying you said that Chris had a gun, and we know that obviously
I think it
he
was
had
Linda's
a
gun.
Okay.
I had my gun.
Right. But the gun that he had in his hand, or that at some point, Chris had a gun. Well,
It looked like Linda's gun.
but you said that you had a gun when you come in there and y'all tussled over it, and it got slapped out of your hand.
That's why I thought it was the gun that he talked.
What gun got
to.
slapped out of your hand?
That was Linda's gun.
Which is
A 40 caliber Smith & Wesson.
a 40 caliber Smith & Wesson.
She bought them for home protection, and I was cleaning those guns. I had possession of those guns in the house. She had her one gun in her room, and I had her other gun because I told her I needed to clean it. It had never been shot and cleaned.
You had the 9mm in your room,
That
or you
was
had
my
the
gun.
40?
The 40 and the 9mm I had in my
Right, I understand she bought them, but you're calling the 9mm yours?
No, it was her gun.
Oh, you had a. So we're still missing. There's another gun at the house somewhere then, because we only got there. We found one gun on the back porch.
What'd you find?
It's a black semi-automatic. I think it's maybe the 9mm.
I'm confused now.
I am too.
To be honest with you, I know that I had her 40 caliber as best as I know. But see, I'm not all there. I was just trying to clean her gun, service her gun, had it in my possession in my room. I'm not claiming the gun.
The two she bought, are they both Smith & Wessons?
Yeah,
Okay. And then you say you have one called a Sky.
right. Now, I bought the gun from her one time,
Mm-hmm.
but she said
The Sky
I
gun?
No,
Not one of the
the
others?
Smith & Wesson.
Okay.
I bought the gun from her one time, but I gave it back to her pretty much. Because I'm not supposed to have guns, she said, and I didn't even know that.
Okay.
I found out that when I got legal for my medical marijuana that took away my gun rights, and I didn't know that.
Okay.
She informed me of that.
Okay.
But I told her we could not be in that house without protection. We got too many people trying to kill us.
And the Sky gun that you owned.
And she's never shot a gun. She's scared of them. She don't know nothing about guns. So even though I was in the wrong for having those guns, I'm not trying to even go there because I know you're trying to get past that.
No, that's
The problem is I had the guns.
So
She did sell me one of those guns a long time ago, but I gave it back to her in the fact that I'm not supposed to have them.
So
But I was the one in control of the gun in the house because I'm the only one that knows how to fire one.
Okay.
And we have had so many, I've been sitting there on my couch 3 times and had people come in my house that were crazy, probably more than me, threatening me on my own couch.
But what did you shoot at the trailer with?
No.
Well, I'll help you. It was a
Gun.
40. because there are shell casings all out there.
And I'm all messed up. To be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
like I told you in the beginning, I was in such a, I don't know which gun I was holding. I don't know what gun I shot him with. All I can do is help you try to know.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that's what we.
Because I was out of my mind,
I wasn't
man.
there, and you were, kind of sketched out.
I was sketchy as I'm telling you the truth. I don't know
All right.
what happened.
Well,
But I know that I had the two guns. I never touched the silver gun. I bought that to get that out of the hands of my son.
Okay, so you had two guns.
He's not supposed to have a gun, and he carries a gun all the time, even though he's not supposed to.
Yeah, that's not right.
And I've been trying to get him to stop that.
That leaves two guns. The first one that you had, that got knocked out of your hand. All right. Then obviously,
I really think that was Linda's gun, and like I said, she did not want me to have that gun.
right. But needless to say,
But
they were
the
in your
reason
room.
they were in my room because I had told her like a couple, 3 weeks ago, maybe a month. I don't know about time.
Mm-hmm.
I have no short-term memory for time.
Sure.
Don't even know what day of the week it is half
Sure.
the time. That's why I ask you. But the thing is, she did not like me having the guns at all. But she knew why I was doing it.
Exactly.
Because
So-
I'm the only one protecting the house. People
So-
come there trying to kill us, and she's never shot a gun. I knew she'd hesitate.
Well,
And I told her, if you hesitate, you
and,
die.
and you were doing what a man does, protect his family.
Man, if I had hesitated with my son, he would have killed me.
And
That's
I'm
all
not-
I can say
I'm
on
not
that.
doubting that at
Now,
all.
I committed a crime after that by sheer insanity.
I'm just trying to.
I don't know why I even took that course.
Izzy, I'm trying to.
I think it's because I was so mad that this woman has destroyed our home.
I'm trying to figure out, Izzy, that
I
the
can-
gun. Hang on, the gun gets slapped out of your hand. Okay. At some point, obviously, he picks it up.
Yeah.
You go get yours, and then what? After in between,
It was
you
him,
shoot.
me or him, man.
Okay.
That's the way I seen it.
Then one or two things happen.
And it's
okay.
my son, but I had to take him out.
One or two
I like
things
living,
happen.
man.
He's dead. All right. So if I'm holding the gun and I'm dead, the gun's gonna be by me, next to me, somewhere in the
Right.
vicinity.
Right.
All right.
I think his mother may have took the gun and ran with it. I don't know. I don't know where the gun went. I didn't take it and run with it, I don't think. Maybe I did. I really cannot tell you that with God honesty, I don't know. I may have picked up the gun that he had. I don't know. I was berserk.
That's what we have to try
I'm
to figure
telling you
out.
God's truth. Praise Jesus that I can even say
Okay.
this. But I'm telling you, I don't know nothing about that. I may have picked up the gun that he had, and that may be the gun that I went outside. You're saying it's the 40 that hit that trailer? Then probably, yeah. I think he had her gun.
Well,
And I think I may have picked it up.
he had the gun that got knocked out of your hand.
Right.
Hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And after I shot him in the berserk that I was in, I may have picked up the gun that he had. Right there where next to the body. I don't know.
Do you remember walking with two guns outside?
No, sir, I don't. I was berserk. I swear I don't remember past shooting him.
When you left in your car,
Now,
was your
I tell
car
you what
parked
got-
back there with the rest of them, or was it
No,
parked
it was
up
out front. But I tell you what I do remember. I remember shooting the door of the shed and not knowing why I did it. I was just berserk.
You were aiming at it?
I guess so, yeah. And then I saw what I was doing and I was like, oh, what the am I doing?
And
And
you
then I
don't-
realized that I was trying to kill that girl.
Mhm.
And I stopped
Okay.
because I caught myself. To be honest with you, I realized I was trying to kill her, but I was on autopilot. I didn't even, I don't have no remorse towards her.
Right.
I don't like her.
Well, the biggest
But
thing.
I think I snapped by seeing that dead body, and my son's eyes was open, and I knew he was dead. And
Well-
and I snapped. I was like, God, caused me to kill my son,
the big,
and I snapped.
the biggest thing is
And I think I probably picked up the gun. I'm saying probably because I don't know. I really was at that point. I don't
and
know.
you know that's a very important piece because
I think I picked up that gun.
Is the killing of your son self-defense? Okay.
It caused me to snap.
Is it self-defense or did he not have a gun? That's
No,
the
he
question.
had a gun, and he had it pointed right at me. I swear before Jesus on my life, you can take a polygraph on that one.
Okay.
He had a gun. I seen the inside of the barrel, And I thought he was fixing to shoot it. Because he had the gun up like this. She was pushing him.
Were you focused in? Can you describe the gun he had?
It looked like her gun. That's what I keep saying. It looked like the 40 that he knocked out of my hand. And I took it as the 40 that he knocked out of my hand. And I knew that gun was loaded.
And that's the gun you initially started this whole thing with. You
Yes,
picked
sir.
the 40 up.
I picked it up because I was afraid he was fixing to beat.
Sure. Now,
He's a big guy.
There's nothing wrong with
And
it.
I'm old and decrepit and broke.
I'm not refuting anything.
And he was
I'm
coming.
trying to help you
Yeah.
as far as
Yeah, I'm just
it
telling
is
you,
what it is
the
with the
God's
girl,
truth is, I
but
was
is it
scared
self-defense
that he
or
was
not?
going to kick my and I'm his dad. And I was not going to let that happen. And
Do
I
you
came
recall
in there-
taking the gun with
The
you after you
reason-
shot the trailer? After you shot
no,
the camper?
sir, I don't. I swear to God. I remember looking at my dead son, and that's the last I remember.
There's no question that James Blackman experienced severe misfortune in life, and while his disabilities may have played a role in his actions, they ultimately held no weight with the jury. He was charged with second-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder.